What's going on, everybody? Welcome to GameFreak. Today's video is a little bit different than most of the videos that I have done. In fact, this video isn't about a particular game at all. This is about a gaming channel, and it's actually a subject that I have seen pop up numerous times, like the last 3 days. And it had me thinking. I thought it was really interesting. And that subject is, do people look at YouTube, like making a YouTube channel, as a career, or is it a hobby? Now, this is my take on this, because obviously, I'm not monetized, so I'm not looking at this as a career. Am I looking at it as a career in the future? I'll get to that. I got to rewind here. I'm going to start way back, so bear with me. This is kind of a story. I'll make it as quick and not long as I possibly can. So, I was playing video games and stuff, Atari 2600, and then Nintendo came out and I was playing Nintendo and stuff. But at the same time, I was teaching myself how to play guitar. I saved up my school lunch money. I wasn't eating lunch at school. I'd secretly pack a lunch and take my lunch money and just save it. And I ended up getting an electric guitar. And I taught myself guitar, just listening by ear. I can't read a note, a musical note. I couldn't tell you. I can hear something, and then I kind of just learned how to play by ear. I eventually I learned how to rig up some stereos and stuff, and I started saving up for a drum set and a bass guitar and stuff. This was probably early 90s, so I was working at my uncle's farm. So I did have part-time job, even though it was long hours. I mean, we work 10, 11-hour days out there. I saved up for all the instruments that I wanted: a keyboard, bass guitar, some drums. I had my electric guitar already. And then I started getting music equipment, recording equipment. I did rig up these stereos where I could record track over track on it before I got a real 4-track recorder. So I was doing the one-man band thing. But then a couple of my friends at school, they wanted to start a band. So we started jamming around. They wanted to play things that I just wasn't into. They were more of a alternative rock fan, and I like alternative rock, don't get me wrong. But deep in my head, man, I was like, man, I'm a punk rocker. Because the first album I ever bought as a kid in the early 80s as a kid was the Sex Pistols, never mind the Bullocks. I didn't even know who the Sex Pistols were. I was just young, and I saw the word sex on a cassette. I bought it, and I listened to it. I fell in love with punk rock. So punk rock's always been my thing. Them, the Ramones, Social Distortion, all that shit, man. Fucking love punk rock. So, that just didn't work out with me and them. But I did end up getting together with some other guys that I used to hang out with, and they wanted to start a grunge band. We were heavily influenced by Nirvana at the time. And no, I didn't wear this just to say that. This wasn't planned or anything. They needed a drummer. So I was like, yeah, I can do some grunge drumming. That ain't too hard. So we started this band, and we were called Ozone. And, we went and we made an album at that time on a cassette. We went to a real studio. Ironically, the studio was called Galaxy, and our band was called Ozone. So it's it was meant to be. After 2 months after that album was done, we decided, because we had so much music wrote, we wanted to go back to the studio and start recording more. So we started recording for our second album, and at the time of recording that, we took our first album and I made a press kit, because at that time, the internet wasn't a thing. That's when you had to fucking mail shit, not email shit. So I made this press kit. I put a bio of our band Ozone in there. I put our album in there, sent it. Didn't think we were going to hear anything from them. But 3 weeks later, we got a letter in response from Sub Pop Records. Ironically, Sub Pop Records are the ones that recorded Nirvana's first album, Bleach. So, man, I was pretty pumped. They were interested. But, I was the oldest in this band. Two of the other guys in the band, they ended up quitting. One was going to college. And I was like, son of a bitch, man, we had this opportunity. There wasn't too many like band heads where we grew up, so we couldn't find anyone else to replace the two guys. So, the band split. Probably a few years later, I think it was probably 3 years later, me and my cousin ended up starting a punk band. And I knew that was my calling. Now, I was the front man in this punk band. The name of this band was called Booty Tank. Yeah, Bootytank. Booty Tank. And if you want to know what Booty Tank means, in translation, it means stanky ass. And the reason, originally we were called the No Names, but our first gig before we went on stage, I changed it because I had to piss before we went on stage, and this guy was bent over and he's tying his shoe, and this chick walked by him. Her ass was like right in his face, and he just looked up and he goes, "Damn, girl, you're Booty Tank." And I was like, "What did you say?" I'm like laughing. He goes, "I told her Booty Tank." I was like, "What the fuck is Booty Tank?" And he goes, "She got a stanky ass." I was laughing. I was like, "Dude, I need to, you know what? We're gonna name our band that." And he just laughed and he goes, "Go for it." So yeah, before we went up on stage for our first gig, changed the name to Booty Tank. The band loved it. They thought it was fucking hilarious after I told them the story. We were playing and we got a name out there really quick. I mean, within probably 6 months, we ended up getting a record deal out of a label out of California called Jet Speed Records. Fuck them guys, by the way. And we had to go through this contract negotiation and everything. They wanted us for a multi-album deal. We got in a big ass argument. I'm not even gonna go through all this because there's a lot of bullshit. They wanted our stuff on the radio. I didn't want our stuff on the radio. I'm not a kind of guy that wanted to be like famous. I just wanted to make money where we could pay our bills. I didn't want to be rich. I have no intentions of being rich. Never wanted to be rich. I just want to be able to live comfortably. And I don't want so noticed where I want to be on the radio or anything like that. I just didn't want it. I didn't want that. And some people might think that's crazy, but, as a punk rocker, we all agreed in the band. We didn't want to be on the radio. Punk rock wasn't on the radio, especially at that time. Now, you got Sirius radio, so satellite, there's punk rock stations and shit. But back then, fuck no, man. We didn't want to be that. We were a bunch of no authority fucking punk rock assholes, man. We were like true fucking punk rockers. That whole deal ended up going sour like fairly quick. After we signed the deal, we ended up getting like kind of like a defamation like charge against us because I took the record executive's phone number and I plastered it all over clubs like in the pissers and shit like that, and I said, "Call this motherfucker and tell him that he's a piece of shit." Well, I didn't think people were gonna do it. And they ended up calling, but, apparently we signed in the contract where we weren't allowed to talk shit about them. We got a big fine and shit. We never paid it, but nothing ever happened either. We continued playing for a while, and then we split, and then we got back together again and started going around playing shows everywhere again. But then, tragedy hit in like 2014. My bassist died. And he died in his sleep at the age of 37. Didn't do drugs, nothing like that. He, pretty clean dude, man. I mean, once in a while he'd smoke weed. We'd drink and stuff. We could have continued because one of our close friends who was also friends with him, he played bass and he volunteered. He'd step in and stuff. But, man, honestly, and it was no offense towards him, but it just wouldn't have been the same, man, because when a group is together as much as we were, I mean, we were all like brothers. It just wouldn't have been the same. So I had to move on. I ended up doing a couple more like solo records by myself. Then I just decided, I'm done with music. I'm done. Even though that was like my dream in the 90s, early 2000s, all I wanted to be was a rock star. But not like a famous rock star. Try to make sense of that. I mean, it's a punk rock thing, I guess. It's just the way it was. But I ended up selling all my shit. I've been at like a steady job since. A good paying job. But the thing with my job is I absolutely fucking hate it. Can't stand my job. Yeah, it pays the bills. They pay me well. I'm good at what I do. I just fucking hate it. I dread going into it every single day. And I'm not whining or bitching, you know. I'm a grown man. You know, I have to do this. You know, you have to support the family. Even though my wife makes more than me, she's in the medical field. So back to the whole video game thing. I sold my music stuff at like 46 years old. I never thought age would do something to me, but at 46 years old, I really believe I had a midlife crisis. I'm 47 now. I've kept every console that I ever had, every game that I ever had since 1982. I still have all of it, all in great condition, but most of the shit was stored. It was in some storage bins up in the attic, in closets and shit. I had like maybe 3 of my consoles hooked up. That was it. But at 46, that midlife crisis hit. It hit me one day where I was like, damn, I'm closer to 50 than I am 40. And that fucked with my head, like really bad. I decided to get all of my consoles out, all of my games, and I turned this room into a gaming room. I built a couple arcades. I hooked all my consoles up. I hugged TVs up all over. I put lights up, put some shelves up. And I was like, you know what? I need a room where I can relive my youth. I need to feel young again. So sometimes I'll just come in here. I won't even play anything. I'll just turn shit on and sit because it makes me feel young again. It helps me like mentally. I remember after I did this, my oldest boy said, "Man, you should start a YouTube channel." He goes, "It's crazy how good you are at like Red Dead 2. You should start doing tutorials on that." So that, you know, I did. I was kind of making fun of it at first. I was like, I don't want to do some fucking YouTube thing. No one's going to watch my shit. I kind of started gaining traction. That shocked me. And then for a long time, I was real uncomfortable in front of this camera. Now I'm not. You know, I'm a little more comfortable, but there's so much more I have to learn on YouTube and stuff. When I started this channel, I even said, I have no intentions of becoming some big YouTube star or whatever. And I still don't, you know. Now, would it be cool if this channel, for some reason, like blew up and it became a career? Yeah, man, that'd be awesome. But I'm not banking on that. As an adult, you got to be like responsible. The only way that could happen is if number one, I'm not monetized. I already mentioned that. But number two, my pay would have to be at least what I'm making now at my job. And it would have to be a consistent pay like that. And the way to get that pay, I mean, you have to have a shit ton of subscribers. And, you know, I never imagined having 700 plus subscribers like I have now. I mean, that's just fucking crazy to me. I didn't think I was going to have over 100. A little over a year, and I'm at over 700. That's just crazy. So I can't look at this as a career. Now, am I enjoying this? Fuck yeah, I am, man. Is it a hobby? I don't even know if I look at this as a hobby. I look at it as, it's hard to explain. It's really rewarding when I make a video and I post it and to read the comments that I get, especially the positive comments. The negative comments that I get, hey man, it makes me laugh, and everyone needs a good laugh once in a while, you know? So I don't mind the negative comments. The people that leave the negative comments, they obviously don't know my past. You know, the punk rock scene is a pretty rough scene. And on top of that, I played hockey for years, and there's a whole lot of shit talk on the ice. So shit talk on social media, that ain't going to bother me at all. You know, in conclusion, do I look at this as a career opportunity or a hobby? Well, that's a tough one. And I really can't answer that definitively because I enjoy doing this more than I enjoy doing my job that I get paid for. I don't even get paid for this. So I don't think YouTube is the type of thing that someone can rely on as a career unless you're very, very established, like an established YouTuber like Mr. Beast. And, you know, there's a lot of others, but man, it's hard to get up that fucking ladder. So it's nothing that I am ever expecting to happen. But I do enjoy doing this. I have a lot of fun, and you guys make it worth it. Hey, let me know if you guys also do content, because I know a lot of people have YouTube channels, but they don't actually make content. They just do it so they can follow other YouTubers. And hey, man, that's understandable. I mean, that's how you can comment on other people's posts and stuff like that. But if you're a content creator and you enjoy making videos and stuff, are you looking at this as a career opportunity, or is it just a hobby to you? I'm interested to know your views on this. So, hey, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video and listen to me rant and babble. And if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps our channel a lot, and I greatly appreciate it. And until the next episode, game on, everybody.